Hey guys, welcome to the Bob and Ramon show. We are back. This is Bob.
Hi, and this is Ramon.
And we're here for you. This is a public service notice.
And we're still up north as part of this epic little safari we've got, doing a number of videos, which we hope you're enjoying so far. We're going to be here for a while because we've got so much great stuff to get through.
And Bob has finally calmed down because we left the last video in a bit of a cliffhanger, didn't we, Bob?
I was in a bit of a froth about Firebird's pickup switches, which we will not revisit.
Yep, and it took me a long time. I had to massage his shoulders, just calming down and talk. And he's okay now.
Peace.
So we're back.
Peace. Yeah, I know. Yeah. I needed our team masseurs to calm me down, didn't I?
You did. Yeah.
All done. So, what's on the menu today?
Well, Bob,
it's blonde up time.
It's blonde, yeah. I mean, I used to be a blonde. Did you know that? Were you blonde, actually?
No,
blondes normally go white.
I was mousy.
You were mousy,
yeah.
but of blondish persuasion, because mousy's kind of blonde, isn't it?
Well, it's kind of nondescript, middle brown.
This is a beautiful white colour now. It is.
The Stuart Granger of vintage guitars.
So anyway,
thank you.
Let's go back to this. Enough about hair or lack thereof.
My dad, funnily enough, looked exactly like Stuart Granger when he was old. He's a really good-looking man.
Wow.
Yeah, he was.
That's where you get your good looks from. Right. Okay then. So
it's the cruel thing about genetics is it dilutes things. Now back to the guitars.
Okay. So back to the guitars. We've got two blonde guitars here. This one is really been played in. To be kind to it, it's been really played in. It's got some war sort of wounds, but which have been, sorted out.
I mean, this often happens. It just gets one yank and the jack plates gets pulled out the side of the guitar. This has been repaired so sympathetically.
Yeah, it's beautiful. But what is the thing about a guitar that's really been played to death? What is it?
Well, you just wonder what's been played. It's been used and loved. There's no chance of it being a case queen.
No. And this is one of those guitars.
This will have played some tunes in its time.
And instantly you jump on this guitar and you just want to play it. It's just got this real kind of mellow, but... It's just got that...
Absolutely.
It's just got it.
It sounds fantastic too. And that's in the middle position, which on this guitar is out of phase. Yeah,
it's just got that nasally, gnarly sort of...
That sounds fantastic. You can see why this is the most successful jazz guitar in history.
Oh yeah, Jim Hall. For me, this is Jim Hall, who
and of course the Jim Hall and the Herb Ellis were in the P90 days.
You were
and then later, 1959, on come the Pass.
He knows his jazz.
Joe Pass.
He knows his jazz.
But I mean, pretty much everybody who played jazz, ES175.
Yeah.
Quick rant about laminate versus carved.
Quick rant. I mean, my main guitar that I play is a Fender D'Acquisto made by Stephen Cern. It's like a '97 guitar, and it's a laminate because when you're gigging in London, two things. Number one, you want a guitar that's not going to fall apart on you, and where the top, if the top is solid, it's solid. Spruce. It's going to be very temperamental to the in England we have a lot of damp weather.
Right. So it moves.
So it's going to move.
And pulls itself apart from the.
Yeah. So your action's going to be rising and lowering. The bridge will suddenly become. you won't be able to get it low enough.
Yeah.
You won't be able to get the bridge physically because the top's now.
Got it.
So that's your first problem, and the second problem is that G string feeding back.
Yeah.
You know, so you have an unwanted.
And the one thing these two guitars we've got in common is they're both completely hollow, so feedback is an issue.
Yeah.
I mean, the great thing about jazz players, of course, is they tend to play clean.
Yep.
And so at least you haven't got to worry about the added problems of higher gain. Because
Yeah.
when you put higher gain on one of these guitars, they're just howl like a wolf.
Yeah, forget it. But what was interesting, Jim Hall, great player, he had a lot of these guys in the 60s had this thing.
Yeah.
Came over, it's called a
George Van Epps damper thing.
Yeah, and he I never saw it with him down, but he used to have it there, just hanging off. And he'd always have it on his ES175,
Right.
and it would just be, you know, I always wondered what they were.
Well, so the idea being, I mean, a lot of the modern shred players have them as well. They have like a bit of towel.
Like a hairband or something.
Right? And what it means is
Yeah.
the guitar is muted
So when you're
on open. But, absolutely. But what you have, it just means there's no ding down the bottom. You
Right,
know,
yeah.
when I studied under Sean Baxter, who's one of the arch, you know,
Oh, you studied
metalists.
metal,
Right.
jazz metal.
Yeah, jazz metal, and the
Great guy.
half of the hard work is actually finding the arpeggios and playing them in nice sweeps. The much harder bit is shutting up all the noise and clickety clack
Right,
that
gotcha.
you're playing. And actually, when you listen to yourself playing at ordinary gain, playing blues and stuff,
Yeah.
if you listen carefully, you can hear yourself clickety clacking away. But it doesn't matter when you're playing blues.
Yeah.
When you're playing shred and those beautiful tidy, you know,
Yeah.
minor arpeggios with taps and stuff, you can hear all the underneath. It sounds like crap. So when you listen to those shred players,
Yeah.
they are really talented because boy are they clean. The technique is so clean.
Well, the thing about this guitar is, whilst you were just saying that, I'm just thinking, was this owned by a jazz guitarist for his whole career, or was it owned by a rockabilly guy, like a rockabilly sort of Carl Perkins type
I have
guy?
an answer for you.
Yep.
Looking, because I can see the shine off all the frets,
Yep.
and I would say that this was played by a guitarist who played a lot of notes up the neck. And
Right.
that talks to me about somebody who's playing jazz and stuff,
yeah,
rather than a
okay.
rockabilly who would tend to be a bit down in the cowboy.
Yeah. So obviously this was owned by a jazz guitarist. He he must have thrown it around, probably got drunk, left it, you know,
Yeah.
because it's got a few crack. It's kind of some jazz guitarist who was pretty rock and roll, basically. That's what I would say.
Well, just living the life, you know. But that's a used guitar, but it sounds bloody fantastic.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
You know, and blonde is always blonde was a slightly more limited number than Sunburst, so these are slightly rarer.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a player guitar; it's not a particularly collectible, except that it's old and fabulous. But I mean, you know, this will make a jazz player really happy. And when you play jazz, it sounds great on it.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So what do we have here? I actually, you know, there's guys. There's this chap called Mr. 335, otherwise known as Mr. Larry Carlton.
Mr. Larry Carlton.
I'm beginning to call Bob Mr. 330. Why is that, Bob?
Well, if you've watched any previous videos, you know I've had a lot of rants about the fact that I've got not one but three old dot neck 330s like this, but with the single pickup in the centre position and just two knobs.
But be careful, because you're going to now hike the price up to.
Well,
Before I can buy one.
Well, okay, exactly. I mean, selfishly, if I hike the price now, I own some. Well, brilliant.
Yeah.
But actually, you know, I don't have a lot of truck with the madness in this market. I mean, prices have gone completely crackers.
But you do favour the ones with the pickup in the middle, because you think.
I do. No,
What do you think about them?
Well, basically, all the 330s like this I've played. This is a blonde 1960, early 1960. So the neck is not going fully skinny yet. It's still got a bit of meat in it, but it's definitely a 60 rather than a 59. So it's getting skinny. I think it's been refretted, but beautifully refretted. But you know, I love these guitars because they're very responsive. The one trouble with them is they join the body closer in than a 335. So if you want to play, for example, your high-speed blues breaker licks in G, you're just about able to do it. In A, it's a trial.
Right.
And most of the blues breaker stuff, although fantastic Clapton, is up in A. So you really have to climb around the neck, and frankly, you can't.
So don't buy 330 guys, or sell them if you have them, a vintage one. Just sell them.
To
Don't
him.
buy them.
To him.
Exactly.
But seriously, this guitar, I mean, it's if I go, this is quite a bright guitar. Period. If I play. I've got a little bit of crunch on it. Right, that's the neck position. The bridge position. It's really quite sharp.
Yeah, it's quite
and what I like about the single pickup models is the pickup in the middle. You get, it's not too bassy, and it's not too bitey. So for the way I play, single pickup is perfect.
Because Bob tends to play using his fingers and not a plectrum.
True.
So this is another factor.
Some people don't like middle pickups. You know, we in an earlier video that we've done in this series, we had those two beautiful switch masters with 3 pickups, and people sometimes don't even like Strats or Firebird 7s or Les Paul Customs with 3 pickups because it gets in the way of their picking. Now, I understand that when you've got nothing but pickups underneath the strings, then okay. In the case of a 330, if people say, well, I don't like the single pickups because it gets in the way of my picking, my answer is brutal and simple. Move your hand half an inch, right? It's quite possible. You can do it. And I do believe that the tone of those single pickup ones, well, it's my taste for my playing, but it suits me better. So I actually like, this is the one guitar in the world whose cheaper variant I like more than the expensive one. Yeah? But this is a fabulous guitar. It's really shouty.
And also you had that theory of the pickup being in the sweet spot where the harmonic is.
Yes, and it just, you know, again, if you're playing that slightly smoother, kind of slightly overdriven, bluesy sound, it's a little more clarinetty.
Yeah,
you know.
But if you're playing, I guess some players are going to play there with a plectrum and they're going to keep hitting the pickup. You know what I mean? And then you get this clicking noise, don't you?
I tell you, one of the most fascinating 330 players, I forget his name, but those of you that remember a Scots band called the Jesus and Mary Chain.
Oh yeah, great.
Mountain of feedback, just wall of feedback.
Used Shinei fuzz pedals.
Did they?
Japanese Shinei fuzz pedals.
And I mean, they were like walls of
great band.
Feedback and fuzz, and they played 330s, which, you know, if I put a 330 with that kind of gain, all I've got is like, yeah! There's no notes coming out, it's just pure feedback. Maybe the Jesus and Mary Chain didn't actually play. They just let the guitars howl. I don't know. I did see them a couple of times and they were terribly loud and really good. But they were using these guitars in the opposite way to the way I'd use them. And that's the brilliant thing about guitar playing, is you put two guitars on the same guitar, you can get chalk and cheese out of them.
Well, it's like Emily Remler, a great jazz guitarist. Emily Remler, she made her mark on a red 330.
Yep.
And she's playing, you know, beautiful jazz on it, and then you got the Jesus and Mary Chain.
Absolutely, so everyone in between.
Yeah,
you know?
And it's all legit, it's all valid.
Yeah, but this is a cracking guitar. A few little geek features for you. Nice clean set of plastic tipped clues and tuners. Really nice curled Mickey Mouse ears, really quite round and pronounced as they should be. This being one, you know, this is about 18 months into production for this guitar. It came out in these. I think I'm right. The 335 and family came out in '58, and I think this one came into the range in '59. So in which case, this is probably within the first year or so of its production. Blonde's slightly rarer than the alternative, which back in the day was Sunburst. This is in pretty good wooden condition. The neck's got some wear on the back of it.
Structurally, it's pretty complete.
Structurally, it's pretty clean. It's similar to my single pickup blonde one. You get quite a lot of checking in quite big sort of stripes down it for some reason. I think that's got something to do with the fact that this is an unsupported piece of wood. It's just a laminated top. This is a 4-ply laminate, so not like some of the earlier ones in '58 and '59. Some of the 335s had 3-ply laminates, and they do feel and sound different.
Right.
Even better. We learnt that at our friend David's when we did that shoot.
And then you got Diakisto, who on the guitar that I own, the Fender Diakisto, he used a 5-ply.
Did he?
Yeah.
One other thing, going back to this guitar structurally for a second, is what often happens on 175s is that the top bows inwards, it dishes, curves in under here. You can usually tell. I've got a single pickup from '53, which is kind of similar to this, and my pickup has definitely slanted as it's the opposite of bellying. It's kind of unbellied. It goes concave.
Right.
It's
so
done.
that guitar's collapsing in itself.
It's kind of collapsing in itself now. It hasn't moved in the 20 odd years I've owned it, and it hasn't got any worse. And it means the neck angle and the action isn't a problem. But when you look at one of these guitars, it's well worth looking at from where you are. Look sideways, and it should be at least flat, if not slightly bulbous. And if it's slightly concave, like mine is, it's like, okay, don't say no, just watch out for it. Just watch out for it. It's specific to 175s, I think.
Yeah, right.
And I mean, I learnt that after the event, but I mean, then I did pay almost nothing for the guitar, so.
Right, and so if we have a look at the bridges,
yeah,
slightly different, you know, because you've got on this bridge you don't have an opportunity to move this back and forth. I mean, are these screws?
No, they literally hold it on. They're not adjustable. They're not adjustable.
So slightly different. This is a little bit more elaborate.
But they are both, yeah, and slightly heavy duty.
Right.
And they're absolutely typical of the era. That's absolutely right.
Yep.
Now my 53 175 is a slightly different figured bridge.
Brazilian rosewood.
And yeah.
Bridge here, obviously.
And again, my bridge, my wooden bridge, has been slightly more tarted around. This has got round ones on it.
Yeah.
Most people would put flats on it.
This pickup has been replaced, hasn't it?
It has.
So this is what you're hearing is an original one here.
And that's a replacement original. It's an old pickup.
Yeah.
But it isn't the pickup the guitar shipped with.
Right. Because
the guitar that the owner had, the pickup that came with the guitar when the owner got it was a modern translucent coil P90 from later in the 70s. So he found an old one and put it back in. But you can see from the pick marks top and bottom of the thing, this guitar has really been played.
Yeah, it's a beautiful working horse.
What's interesting is that the pick guard hasn't bowed at all. Normally they dish a bit. Mm-hmm. This one's dished a tiny bit. Yeah. That one hasn't dished at all. I wonder if that's original. I don't know.
Right.
And the knobs are quite dark amber, really nice. That's age, and they're slightly deeper. So in the early 50s, these knobs, the first ones in 1949, 1950, they had no numbers, and they were really quite deep. And but they stayed deep, and they got a little bit shallower about 55. Geek collector stuff, but
all important though.
It's all there, you know. Yep. This one, on the other hand, now this is interesting because these knobs, reflector knobs, suggest this is mid 60 onwards, whereas the neck profile suggests to me it's early 60. Again, you can never trust a Gibson from these from this period because everything's on the boundaries. Everything's movable.
Everything's moving.
Doesn't move far, but it moves.
Yeah.
So you can't say from those things that's a May 60 guitar. You can't do it. From June 1958, you've got the added complication that the Gibson ledger, the shipping ledger that contained the inked stamped serial number of every guitar as it was stamped, along with any comments, like, for example, you know, blonde, I don't know, let's say that this had blocks custom ordered. It would have had customer ordered blocks in the neck or something. Little comments. The ledger from 1958, June 1958, through until about 61 is lost. Well, that's very convenient, isn't it? Because when did the Les Paul Standard, you know, Sunburst, right, and the Explorer and the Firebird, all the guitars that are top coin.
So that's lost.
It's lost. And Gibson offered about 3 or 4 years ago, publicly, they offered a reward of about $70,000 for anybody who knew of the whereabouts of this.
The guys in America,
ledger.
our friends in America, look for this ledger.
It enables them to make up some very fanciful stories about the guitars from that period.
And how many Les Pauls they made.
Yeah. And how many Les Pauls, and were there any, for example, there are a few Les Pauls with funny attributes that could have been custom colour. For example, you know, the cherry one that was attributed to George Harrison, Clapton gave him, the black one that has just sold to Kirk Hammett through Carter Vintage in America, the gold one with the armrest that's in Beauty of the Burst. Those weird guitars, right, all of which are now kind of documented by assumption. If they'd been from 55, 56, they would have been in the ledgers.
And how many Explorers they made?
And here's the big one. Nobody seems to challenge the 98 or something Flying V's, right? Because they were all made in a couple of batches. But the Explorer, the most valuable guitar of all, because it's got it's a late 50s, golden era vintage, super rare, about 22, 23 documented and made in 58. But then the story about the guitars that were assembled in 63 for parts, from parts, residual parts, with slightly different characteristics. And then the emergence of at least one I know with a 1960 serial number. The ledger would tell us what the truth is. So this absence of this ledger is
rather convenient.
It's a convenient coincidence, isn't it? I won't say more.
Read between the lines.
For a brain dead geek like me, it would be the most fascinating read I could ever find. But afford 70,000 to pay somebody to relinquish it, if indeed it exists. Somebody has got that. Somebody in a metal filing cabinet has got that.
Yeah. So there you go.
It'll emerge.
Yep. So guys, that's the end of this video. We're going to be back very soon with a new video with some more goodies with my compadre.
Who loves 330s.
Senor Bob.
Bye bye from Senor Bob and bye bye from Senor
Goose.
Oh, see.
Take care.